Hello everyone, Barcelona family. Don't hesitate to like and subscribe to the channel to know everything about Barcelona. In this video, we have 3 pieces of news concerning our beloved club. Let's move on to the first. Jonathan Tah has been, for many weeks, one of the most mentioned names in the offices of the Blaugrana club as a key reinforcement to strengthen the defensive line. The German centre-back, well established in the Bundesliga and with international experience, seemed to be a significant solution for a defense that has seen ups and downs in recent years. From the player's entourage, it was revealed that he was willing to change scenery and accept new challenges outside of Germany, and the sports project of the Catalan team, with a young and rebuilding squad, seemed to make sense to him. However, at the last minute, Tah chose to join Bayern Munich, thus closing a door that seemed wide open. This decision was interpreted by many as a setback for the Blaugrana sports project, at a time when every reinforcement must be measured to the millimeter for the impact it can generate on and off the field. But time has brought a different perspective. His first performances with the Bavarian team, particularly during the recent Club World Cup, have left much to be desired. Far from being the dominant defender expected, he showed insecurities unworthy of his experience, positioning errors, fragility in individual duels, and a concerning lack of leadership, which led the German press to designate him as one of the disappointments of the tournament. From the county city, all this is observed with a mix of surprise and relief, because although it is true that a profile like his, mature, solid, with international experience, was sought after, it is also true that at no point were they willing to enter into a bidding war or mortgage the salary balance for his recruitment. The Blaugrana club, after years of financial crisis, has learned to manage resources with prudence, and the arrival of a defender at a high cost, with considerable economic demands and without a guarantee of immediate performance, was an unnecessary risk. Furthermore, the internal analysis on the type of defense needed has evolved with a new technical staff. The arrival of Hansi Flick has changed many priorities within the locker room and also in sports planning. The German coach has been clear about what he expects from his centre-backs: speed, anticipation ability, tactical reading, and skill with the ball. In this sense, Tah would not have fully fit. His more physical than technical game could have clashed with the idea of a defense that not only contains but also builds. There is also a psychological component that cannot be ignored. Great players are partly so because of their ability to perform under pressure, and in his first engagements with Bayern, Tah has managed this pressure poorly. Far from taking a step forward, he has shown himself to be dubitative, as if the weight of being in a club with great aspirations overwhelmed him. What would have happened if this same scenario had been repeated in Barcelona, with stands that do not forgive mistakes and demand excellence from the first minute? In this context, many in the county city think that not recruiting Tah was more than a loss, an opportunity to correct the course and seek options more compatible with the style and needs of the club. There are emerging young talents in Europe, with room for growth, eager to prove their worth and with a more affordable salary. Moreover, there are young players from the youth academy who are coming through strongly and who could take on this role if given the necessary confidence. It's not about recruiting for the sake of recruiting, but about building a coherent, balanced block that exudes football in every line. The season is long and the markets are dynamic. What seems like a disappointment today may tomorrow become a blessing, because if something has taught the history of this club, it is that the best decisions are not always the most spectacular, but the smartest. Not recruiting Tah has allowed the team to maintain an economic margin to strengthen other more urgent positions and has clearly shown that it will not fall into the trap of paying for a name if the performance is not up to par. In recent months, other profiles have been analyzed, some younger, others with experience in less publicized leagues but with promising statistics, players who have shown in systems similar to the one Flick wants to impose and who would arrive with the ambition to make a name for themselves at Camp Nou without demanding ranks prematurely. This type of mentality is what has led this club to its greatest successes and is the mentality sought now to relaunch the project. The most interesting thing in all this is that the reflection on Tah is also a question of values, of model. Betting on players who not only add on the field but also understand what this badge represents, who respect its history and give their all for the jersey. And if this is not guaranteed by a Bundesliga defender, no matter how impressive his CV, then it is good to look elsewhere. Moreover, there is something that must not be neglected. In Barcelona, football is lived differently. Here, it is not enough to win, you have to convince. The fans demand an identity, a way of playing and feeling, and in this context, recruiting players with a purely physical profile or who depend too much on more closed or vertical systems is often counterproductive. Tah, as brilliant as he has been in his local league, has not yet demonstrated that he can lead a defense with the demands and characteristics that this implies wearing the blue and deep red. That is why, from this Blaugrana perspective, it can be affirmed without reservation that it was positive not to insist on his recruitment. The club has the obligation to look forward, to continue building intelligently, to make decisions thinking about the medium and long term. Ta went to Bayern and that is his right, but Barcelona has its path and cannot detour for players who are not up to its technical, tactical, and emotional demands. And now, we want to know what the fanbase thinks. Do you think it was wise to let Ta go? Do you think the club should have insisted more, or is it good to follow other options more suited to the Blaugrana style? What type of centre-back would you like to see reinforce the team next season? The debate is open and, as always, the voice of Barcelona supporters will be fundamental in building the future, because the badge is not bought, it is honored, and for that, more than a name or reputation is needed, commitment, identity, and dedication to a way of understanding the game are required. Ta did not want to take this step, the club did not force him either, and perhaps there begins to be written another story, one which, if built with coherence, can bring Barcelona back to the place it should never have left. The second piece of news concerns an important decision in our beloved club. Barcelona continues to be, with the arrival of Hansi Flick and the unwavering vision of Joan Laporta, one of the most active and, above all, demanding clubs in the transfer market. The firm determination to build a strong, competitive team with a future projection that brings us back to the top of European football is palpable in every move. In this context, and with an eye on economic efficiency and sustainability, the name Sergi Cardona has begun to resonate with unusual strength in the corridors of Camp Nou. So much so that our president, Joan Laporta, and his sports management have already initiated discreet but decisive moves to position themselves advantageously in the race for the promising Catalan fullback. At just 25 years old, Cardona has completed a simply excellent season at Villarreal, establishing himself as one of the most consistent, reliable, and versatile defenders in the Spanish league. His meteoric progression has not gone unnoticed, and Barcelona's interest is no coincidence. It is, in fact, the result of an exhaustive sports analysis, increasingly focused on capturing national talents with experience, a hunger for success, and, fundamentally, that competitive DNA that we value so highly. Hansi Flick, the new mastermind of our Blaugrana bench, has given his unreserved green light to this operation. Since his arrival, Flick has been extremely clear in his demands. He wants to strengthen the defensive flanks with players committed to his playing philosophy, tactically versatile, capable of supporting the defensive block with solidity and discipline, but also of making significant contributions in the offensive phase with overlaps and discernment. And Sergi Cardona, with his qualities, meets all these conditions. The German coach has studied in depth the detailed reports on the player, has watched recent matches carefully, and is thoroughly convinced that his recruitment would be an intelligent and strategic incorporation, especially considering the delicate economic context of our club, which forces us to prioritize strategic operations without unnecessary extravagances or waste that endanger financial stability. Prudence and efficiency are the maxims governing this new era. Sergi Cardona has undoubtedly been one of the great revelations of the season in La Liga. His performance at Villarreal has been impeccable in every respect, showing remarkable defensive solidity, excellent tactical reading that allows him to anticipate plays, an unshakable personality to take on responsibilities both in defense and attack, and a notable offensive capacity that allows him to frequently gain ground on his flank, generating danger with his runs and crosses. He has become, on his own merits, one of the most valued pieces of the Castellan team, both for his consistent performance on the field and for his professional and exemplary attitude off it. It is no surprise that several teams from the prestigious Premier League have shown serious and concrete interest in his services, which clearly speaks of the qualitative leap he has made in recent months and the recognition his talent is receiving in the European panorama. From England, detailed and exhaustive reports link him to important clubs that value, above all, his reliability, unshakable consistency, and enormous future projection in such a demanded position. However, amid this growing international competition, the sports management of our club, with Laporta at the helm, does not want to lose an inch of ground. Joan Laporta is fully aware that this type of opportunity, to recruit a proven talent in Spanish football, young, with a great margin for growth and who could quickly adapt to the environment and the complex playing idea of our team, does not come along every day. This represents a decision that masterfully combines the immediate present and the promising future. It is not a media operation of the kind that makes headlines and fills debate programs, but a club bet, an intelligent investment that could yield great sporting and economic dividends in the medium and long term, consolidating a key piece in our defense. Sergi Cardona's release clause, set at around €15 million, is by no means an insurmountable barrier for our club. It is a perfectly manageable sum for a national player with international projection, especially when compared to the exorbitant prices currently circulating in the market for defenders with similar characteristics or even lesser performances. Villarreal has already made it clear that it will not negotiate downwards, as it is aware of the value of its player, but Barcelona, with its usual ingenuity and experience, could explore creative formulas to fit the operation within its financial limits, including staggered payments over several seasons or even the strategic inclusion of players from our youth academy in the operation, which always appeals to selling clubs. One of the most attractive points of Sergi Cardona's profile, and one that is fundamental for our club, is his unshakable mentality. Not only is he an extremely competitive player on the field, who considers no ball lost and sacrifices himself for the team, but he has also shown himself to be a grounded, extremely hard-working person with his feet firmly on the ground. Several testimonies from his professional circle describe him as a humble but ambitious footballer, who knows perfectly well what it takes to reach the elite and does not easily settle for successes. With the approval of the sports management and debate among the supporters, a strategic recruitment within our club. The operation for Sergi Cardona is beginning to be viewed with increasing sympathy and conviction. Hansi Flick has already conveyed to the sports management his priority interest in a player of this profile, especially to strengthen a defensive flank where entirely stable solutions have not been found, nor a player offering complete guarantees in recent years. The arrival of Cardona, while it would not solve all the team's defensive problems overnight, would bring crucial solidity, much-needed internal competitiveness, and a variety of tactical alternatives for the coach. Furthermore, it would allow for more effective and balanced rotation in a season that will once again be long and extremely demanding, with battles in La Liga, the Copa del Rey, the ever-desired Champions League, and the Super Cup. Among the supporters, that ruthless thermometer of the club's decisions, an interesting debate is also beginning to emerge. Would Sergi Cardona be a wise recruitment for our team? Some cules, perhaps more inclined towards flashy names, think that the club should focus on more internationally established names, players with a brighter track record. The third piece of news is a massive bombshell at Barcelona. Barcelona has once again raised its voice in the transfer market with a very clear intention, a declaration of principles that resonates in every corner of Europe. The aim is to build a present-day project with young, vertical, explosive talent adaptable to the high-intensity playing model that Hansi Flick wants to implement from the first day of the pre-season. In this new and exciting context, the name Kareem Adeyemi has burst onto the scene with overwhelming force and has done so as one of the great surprises and, at the same time, one of the greatest aspirations of the Blaugrana sports planning. Amidst Arsenal's interest, which has been attempting to finalize his signing with the confidence of being in pole position for some time, our Catalan club has made its move with decision and strategy, showing that it is ready to fight tooth and nail for the fast and talented Borussia Dortmund attacker. Joan Laporta has given the green light for our club to fully enter the race if the appropriate conditions are met, and Flick, with his characteristic conviction, has approved the signing without hesitation, aware that this is a player profile that can offer much more than it seems at first glance, a true rough diamond. It is important to highlight that the interest in Adeyemi is not new to the great connoisseurs of European football. The young German player has been closely monitored for several seasons, with exhaustive reports by the major entities on the continent. His spectacular breakthrough at Salzburg, his subsequent high-profile transfer to Borussia Dortmund, and his promising first steps in the competitive Bundesliga have not gone unnoticed in the football world. His supersonic speed, innate ability to break defensive lines with lethal runs, irresistible imbalance in one-on-one situations, and above all, his impressive versatility to play competently on both wings or even as a second striker or false nine, have placed him on the radar of several European giants, including Arsenal, Bayern Munich, and now, with renewed strength, Barcelona, which has demonstrated that it does not give up on anything when talent knocks on its door. Until a few days ago, the general feeling in the market and among analysts was that the English team, Arsenal, had a considerable lead in the race for his signing, with advanced negotiations and the players' blessing. However, the spectacular emergence of our Barcelona has completely changed the game, altering the dynamics and opening a new scenario of competition. According to very reliable sources close to the club, with access to the offices of the Ciutat Esportiva, Laporta has decided to relaunch negotiations with the player's entourage after Hansi Flick included him with absolute priority on a short list of desired and essential profiles to strengthen the attacking front. The German coach, who knows him perfectly from his time in the Bundesliga, having followed him closely and through his experience with the German national team, has conveyed to the sports management his unwavering interest in a player with Adeyemi's characteristics: aggressive in pressing, explosive in dribbling, with tireless running in both phases of play, and, above all, with that hunger for glory and titles that he values so highly. And it is that our Barcelona is looking with almost surgical precision for player profiles that complement and enhance the new and ambitious tactical structure that Flick wants to implement. The German has made it clear that his ideal scheme, based on possession with a purpose and verticality, requires wingers capable of stretching the field with runs into space, but who also perfectly understand when to combine in short, when to fall back to help in defense, and, crucially, how to face rivals with determination to generate superiorities. In this sense, Adeyemi fits perfectly like a glove. He is a player with an eminently offensive mentality who always seeks the opponent's goal but with the innate ability to offer defensive solutions if necessary, making recoveries and pressing the ball carrier. His tireless work rate, intensity in every action, and contagious energy make him an extremely useful and valuable element for a team that wants to be more dynamic, more vertical in its attacking proposition, and less predictable for rivals. He is the ideal profile to break down closed defenses. But beyond the purely tactical aspect and his integration into Flick's system, there is a factor that the club values enormously and which has become a maxim in the new recruitment policy: age and projection. At just 23 years old, Adeyemi represents exactly that young but already proven profile that fits perfectly into Barcelona's new philosophy. Players with a great margin for progression who can quickly adapt to the enormous demand of our club and the league, but who can also have important minutes from the start, contributing from day one. And, above all, and this is key in our current economic situation, without the need to break the bank, because in the county city, no one, absolutely no one, wants to repeat the mistakes of the recent past, when large outlays were made without always translating into the expected performance. Laporta has insisted that only financially reasonable operations, adapted to the reality of our club, will be carried out. And if Adeyemi arrives, it will be with a recruitment structure in line with the club's possibilities. A moderate fixed part, performance-related variables that incentivize the player to give his best, and a salary that does not disrupt the team's salary balance, maintaining harmony and sustainability. Borussia Dortmund, for its part, is open to negotiation, which is a very positive sign. The German club, known for being a launching platform for great talents, does not rule out a sale if it receives an interesting offer in line with the player's potential, aware that Adeyemi has not yet achieved the expected consistency since his arrival, although he has shown flashes of his immense quality. However, they know that his potential is enormous, a true gold mine, and will not let him go for a symbolic or derisory sum. There is talk of an operation that could be around 35 or 40 million euros, an ambitious but manageable sum if Barcelona manages to free up salary mass with a strategic exit, something on which the sports management is working intensely. The club is already working in this direction, optimizing resources, freeing up the salaries of players who are not part of Flick's plans, and reorganizing the team to make way for signings that truly bring a leap in quality and align with a new vision. Are you ready to see Kareem Adeyemi shine at Camp Nou, Kules? Is this type of signing that makes us dream again of great feats and titles? Or should we continue to look for other options that better fit your vision?